All right, well, first off, how's everybody doing tonight? Everybody doing good? Yeah. Every time I stand in front of an audience, I feel like a stand-up comedian, so this is new. As I was introduced, my name is Jaron Jones, and I'm co-founder of Self Narrate. We're a storytelling nonprofit housed here in Gainesville, Florida, one of the greatest cities in the world, right? Yeah. Changeville's in Gainesville, so it has to be one of the greatest cities in the world, right? And so actually, before we even started the nonprofit, there was an experience that I went through as a student when I first got here. Essentially, I was in a job that I was not passionate about. I was lost in what my story was, and I was searching for identity. I was searching to find that purpose and an understanding of what I was put on this earth to be. And in this class, we had to actually stand in front of our classmates and give a 20-minute narrative about ourselves. That was very difficult. I had plenty of elevator pitches to get into grad school, but I never had to actually tell my story. And so when I went through that process of telling my story and understanding what made me tick, whether it was a pre and a post me, I started to realize that I was empowered because I started to look at my narrative differently. Where before coming down here, I looked at the things that I overcame, possibly as signs of weakness, and I started to realize they were actually signs of my strength. I could actually triumph and overcome these things that I've gone through my lived experiences. When the time came for us as classmates to do a class project, we had to go out into the community and create change. That was the only part of the rubric. Go out in the community and create change the way you see fit. So for me and my classmate at the time, Brandon, we knew we had to take storytelling outside of just the classroom because we saw what an impact it had on us. I got to know him. Our friendship was grounded on the foundation of story, of understanding, of dialogue. And so we thought, perfect. Let's do a project called Tell Us the Story, we'll give you $1. Now, we were in college, and we were giving dollars away to college kids. We thought this was perfect, right? That's like 10 packs of ramen noodles, right? So I'm thinking, how many people do you think came the first week that we stood at the University of Florida during lunch for 1 hour for an entire week? One is close. 3 people showed up. Thousands of students walked by and put their earbuds in their ear and try not to make eye contact. We understand, we're all guilty of it. But those 3 came back and brought 3 of their friends, and it started to grow. We asked those friends, why was it so difficult to take this free money? They said there were 3 things. 1, our sign was hella sketchy. It was a poster board handwritten by our co-founder, Brandon, not myself. And we had a dollar bill taped to the side. We thought it was organic, we thought it would be a good feel. Didn't work at all. 2, they said they thought it was a catch. Nobody wants to just hear your story. But 3rd, and what was the most important, especially when we're talking about Changeville and societal change and social change, they said that they felt that they didn't have a story that was important enough to share. And that was the moment we realized that this was our life's work. It was creating spaces for people to understand that your story matters, it's vital, and it's important that you are grounded within that. Because when you're grounded in your story, not only does it affect you, but it affects your community as well. So we go out into the community, we create spaces where people are empowered to walk in their truth. Now what that allows you to do is become more self-aware. You start to understand what makes you who you are. You start to reanalyze those lived experiences of the past. You change that narrative from a weakness to a positive. And then you start to realize that through telling your story and hearing your story, you become a better listener. So now you're starting to talk about community engagement. You're starting to talk about being involved and understanding. Rather than looking for a conversation to see who's right and who's wrong, you're now looking for understanding of each other's truths. And that's what we have to understand. If we are grounded in a space where we feel free to talk about ourselves and understand one another, that's when you truly create community resilience. And that's why we love Changeville. The artists that are here, the people that you are seeing that are involved in the community and are involved in Changeville, they're all about creating spaces for people to live their most authentic life, but also find spaces where everyone knows that they have a voice that needs to be heard. So outside of that, I also want to give you a little bit of encouragement. Now, most of the time when you start to think about your story and you struggle with developing it for the first time, or you have these dreams that you know you want to do, immediately we think about the end result. We think about the tree already planted. Like we think about it, as soon as you plant the seed, the next week you want to be an apple tree. It doesn't work that way. So I like to use the analogy of the bamboo tree. Most people only see the bamboo tree once it sprouts. What they don't know is that it takes 3 to 5 years of cultivation in the ground before it ever breaks through from the root. Now, the moment it breaks free, it grows 3 to 4 inches per year. So understanding that as you're developing and you're doing the work, whatever it is, whether it's social justice, whether it's learning your own story, whether it's fighting the good fight, just know that it takes time and make sure that you're cultivating that soil effectively. You want that tree to grow up in the best soil that it can grow in. So don't think about next week fixing everything. Enjoy the cultivation and then watch the fruits of your labor sprout. Thank y'all.